What I was looking for in a car was something I had passion for in my youth. And something I could drive without worrying about it too much. My name is Digiorgio. I'm the owner of a saffron yellow 1971 Triumph GT6 MK3. What I particularly like about the design is that it's a very stylish design from almost every angle, and it gets a fair amount of attention for that design. I think from the rear the angles are quite attractive. And as you're sitting inside the car and you're looking out over the hood, you have the distinct feeling that you're driving a Jaguar E-Type. It looks like a long hood with a bulge on it, so obviously it's nowhere near as long as a Jag. It took me 40 years to get to the point where I could have the car and the money and the time to deal with it, so I bought this car about 7 years ago. I saw it on eBay and managed to get it sight unseen, which is a little bit scary. The good news is the paint is in pretty good shape and there's no rust anywhere. The bad news is that all the rubber products, the bushings and everything else had perished, as you would expect from having been in the desert for 10 years. Getting in and out can be a challenge for older folks like me. But once you're in, there's plenty of room to spread out. There's no wheel well intrusion for the wheels, so your legs can be straight out, and it's quite a comfortable ride inside. That's why I guess they call it a GT. And under that bulging hood is a straight six engine, which is a pretty good amount of pickup for a car that weighs only 2,000 pounds. So I think most people are pretty surprised that it's as zippy as it is. It certainly wouldn't be confused with a fast car today, but in its day, this was a pretty fun car to have. So with respect to restoration, I've done it in phases over the last 7 years. As I mentioned, first thing we had to do was convert it to unleaded and fix a leaky valve, and for years I drove it like that. Just in the past year or so, I converted it to an overdrive, and then that process refreshed the whole engine bay, de-rusted the entire underneath of the car and resealed it, and then also put in a new dash and new carpets in the interior, so it looks pretty good now. So one thing about the driving that is a little less than desirable is that it can get quite warm in there. This is a coupe, so even with the windows open, the ventilation is not great. And on warm days, I tell people it's like having a cast iron stove in your car, because you actually have a cast iron stove in your car. The engine protrudes into the passenger compartment, and it's a good 400 pounds of cast iron at quite hot. So it can be pretty warm in there, but I learned that if you flip the triangle windows around all the way forward, you get much better airflow inside the car, and it's tolerable. For one, there aren't many of these cars around, so I do get stopped quite often, and then it has a lot of chrome, and it makes a pretty good amount of noise for a little car, so it is a bit of an attention getter whenever I take it out. Even giving some people some rides, letting kids sit in it with their picture taken, because kids think it's a fun looking car. It gets a lot of attention, which is part of the fun for me. So the Triumph GT6 has the great looks, has a fun engine. They're usually pretty rare at the car shows I go to, and on top of that, parts are pretty cheap, and for the most part, I can fix it myself.